Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel for another video on GT Sport. We're back with Daily Race C that was on last week, driving at the Tokyo track. This is not the new version, this is an old version that's obviously been on the track, on the game for quite some time. So it's a Group 4 cars. I'm driving the Porsche Cayman as stated in the video I did to explain the tactics that I would use in this race. And we're still following with that same tactic towards the end of the week. So using the Cayman, racing soft tyres and no stop strategy. You can see getting the slipstream is P2 there behind me. Quentin manages to get a big slipstream off me, and the Lamborghini also getting the slipstream and going down the left hand side, although he's not going to be able to hang that round the outside. I've just about got into the corner well enough, and he's actually ran a little bit wide, you can see, running into the wall and losing some time on that turn one. Now working our way down the straight, we're going to try and hold on to the slipstream through here. This is very much a slipstream track. If you stay in the slipstream, it's all about the straight line, the big long straight, picking up that slipstream and working out your overtake in a tactical way that you don't give them the opportunity to get the overtake done back on you. It's that long a straight. In Group 4 cars, you tend to find that you can get past someone, but then they can repass you if they time it well. So what you've got to do is try and time that overtake. So you're going to see some tactical driving in this race as we're trying to go through this section as fast as we can. Obviously trying to put Quentin under some pressure as he's skimming the wall there, sparks flying, getting very close through here. You can see we obviously ran this race from the bumper view, although I thought I'd saved the actual footage of the race through the Elgato, but I couldn't find it. I don't know what's happened to it from both races. I have a feeling that we've possibly it's not recorded right, or it's gone into some random file, but it wasn't where it should be, so I've had to go through the replay. So I thought I'd just use the cockpit camera again. We do obviously a lot of streaming from the bumper cam, so to make things a little bit more enjoyable to watch, we're going to do it from the cockpit view sometimes and stuff like that, what we've been doing in the other videos as well. But now you can see we're in a reasonably good position now going into the straight to pick that slipstream up. It's not too close. What you don't want to be is right on the bumper to someone going into the straight, because if you just start picking up the slipstream, by the time you get past them, they'll easily get back past you. So you see we're picking up that slipstream, although it looks like I've not timed this perfect. You can see you really want to be getting the slipstream going up the hill, because that's where the cars tend to lose a bit of speed. So if you can pick up the slipstream going up that hill so that your car obviously gains the acceleration while theirs lose the acceleration, and then when you come over the crest of the hill, you find that they can't get back past you. As you can see now, just that a little bit too early. He's going to try and go around the outside. It looks like we're going to be able to just hold the inside line. Are we going to be able to hold that? Yeah, just about holds the inside line, and he cannot make the move back around the outside, but it was very close. Maybe I should have judged that a bit better so that he wouldn't have been able to get back past going into turn one, but still in the lead of the race. And now we've got to do the driving from the front and try and see if we can break the slipstream somehow. Although this track is extremely hard, like I said before, it's a very hard track to break any slipstream, especially when you've got two drivers in the same car. As you see Quentin, have a little look there. I actually missed the gear there from 4th to 5th. I totally missed the gear, and it bogged down a bit, so that's why he had a little look there as he gained a bit of speed on momentum. But going through the corners, you see again picking up that slipstream, but you cannot make a move into this corner. It's too risky, so he's just going to stick to the bumper of the car as we're both going around there flat out. No lifting really at this phase of the race when the tyres are in good condition, but he runs very wide there, nearly skimming the wall on the exit of that corner, and then into this right hand corner, very fast right hand corner, using all the track available before you swing it back into. I love this section of track in Group 4 cars, especially the Cayman. You really swing it into the corners nicely through there, and you can see a bit of a gap developing between the two Lamborghinis behind. So we've got kind of the two races going on at the moment. We've got the Porsche battle at the front, and then the Lamborghini battle behind us. Some of the Lamborghini drivers were running medium tyres. I did notice that in some of the races. It did seem like quite a good tactic in that car. Maybe that tactic would have worked in the Cayman also. I didn't actually get round to trying it. I should have really tried it out to see how it worked, but for these races we're just running on board with the soft tyres. You can see now we're going to actually give the slipstream now to P2, as we're obviously providing that boost in speed, and P2's picking that slipstream. You can see Quentin there picking the slipstream up. He's going to make the move. He's going to do exactly the same as I did. Went for a bit too early really. So he's going up the hill, and now we're going to see if we can make a move and pick that slipstream up. It does give you the chance to fight back if you do that like that. You can see if they get it early, it gives me the chance now to pick that slipstream back up, and he's going very defensive. I'm going to have to go around the outside and try and swing it around the outside, although there's no point really trying to go around the outside. Not much grip there. You really need to take a very tight apex that corner to gain the best acceleration, because the way the camber is on the corner. And then into this right hand corner again, trying to stay as close as we can, picking up that slipstream. I'm really close now through here. We're picking up a massive slipstream. Are we going to be able to make a move here? This is an extremely risky place to try any sort of move. It's not really advisable. So what I did was I just hanged it around the outside there, give myself a good view of the track so I can see obviously the corner coming. Had a little look there, gonna just try and compromise his entry to the corner. You can see he didn't know I was there. What I wanted to do was compromise his entry into the really fast part of the corner. I wasn't going to actually try and go around the outside there, because that would have been a bit silly and probably caused a crash. But what I wanted to do was try and compromise his entry so that he couldn't get the best exit, although he didn't see me there. And now we're going through the really fast corners again, just holding back, picking up that slipstream again and gaining on him in the slipstream through the fast corners. So we're going to try and hold on now until we get to the straight, and then go for a move again. So we're very close at this point of the track. Now I could have gone for a move probably into this right hand corner, the tight hairpin, but you're going to see I decided to just back off and just stay on the left hand side. You see, braking very early for this corner. I braked really early and then took a very wide line. Did that on purpose because obviously I wanted to get a straight line speed. So you can see, build the distance up between us and then try and build a really strong slipstream up, so that I can try and make the move and make it stick, so in turn one he can't get the move done again. But let's see if we time this a bit better this time. So going down the straight into 5th gear and trying to see what I'm doing now. I'm actually lifting off the throttle. You can see it on the throttle inputs, gradually just lifting off, because I don't want to overtake him until after the top of the hill. I want the slipstream up the hill if possible. You can see picking it up, but we've actually got it a little bit, we've not timed it again, slightly wrong, but a little bit better than what we did before. You can see now he's going to obviously jump into the slipstream and try and go round the outside into turn 1 again. What I really wanted to do was be a little bit further back going up the hill, so we pick the slipstream up on going up the hill and gain the speed advantage, but it didn't quite work out. But you can see again, we still managed to hold on to P1, taking the inside line. He's run a little bit wider, he's actually skimmed the wall, and we're still in that P1 position as we're having a really good battle now for the lead. And this is actually costing us a bit of time. Because we're battling so hard, you tend to, even though you're giving each other the slipstream down the straight, you're tending to battle that much through some corners and stuff. You tend to lose a lot of time overall for the lap. So we're actually giving the advantage to the Lamborghinis that are behind us in terms of gaining in on us and actually gaining some time back. So we've got to be quite careful how this race goes if we keep battling like this. Obviously we are still keeping the pace at this point. However, when them tyres start wearing, we're going to end up losing a lot of time if we're battling like this and fighting side by side and stuff. So this is going to be a really interesting race. Who's actually going to come out on top of this race? It's going to be really interesting to see who's going to get the better of this race. As Quentin now sticking in my slipstream, very much identical to how I was sticking in his slipstream. It really is just a slipstreaming track. I'm not a massive fan of these tracks. I prefer the newer versions of the Tokyo tracks. There's a little bit more skill involved and you can actually break a slipstream with some aggressive driving, whereas on this track you tend to find if you've got reasonably good drivers, if they're in the slipstream, they're very hard to get rid of out of the slipstream. But again, what I'm going to do this time is try and get a good exit from the corner, although there's not really much point. I know that he's going to get be able to pick up the slipstream, although he had a little bit of a mistake there and he's dropped back a bit, so we're going to try and lose that slipstream and make it harder for him, see if we can actually defend into turn 1. So this will be quite interesting to see where the slipstream is going to pick up for Quentin behind in the Porsche. He's picking it up now as we go down the straight. He's probably actually going to get it going up the hill, so he's probably going to be in a very good position here to pick up a very strong slipstream up the hill. Let's see how it works out for him. Is he going to get it? He's getting it just as we go up the hill, so this is identical. This is pretty much perfect for him. You can see our speed's slowing down, however his was increasing, so you can see the massive slipstream he's got. But we're going to go straight into his slipstream now and see if we can get back past. We're going to have to try something very brave here now as we're coming from quite far back. So we're going to go over to the left and dummy it and fake down the inside and brake as late as possible. I don't think he even saw us there and managed to pull off an absolutely brilliant move. I was really happy with that move. Faking down the left and then cutting back on the inside and braking that little bit later and catching him a little bit by surprise, I think, as we put ourselves back into the lead of the race. So some brilliant driving there to get ourselves back in the lead after we picked up the slipstream, and now we've got to just try and keep this P1 before we get to the finish of the race. This is going to be a really good battle, as you can see now, putting us under a lot of pressure again as we come through to the real tricky section, picking that slipstream up and seeing if he can hustle us into a mistake somewhere if possible, as he makes a little bit of an error there. You can see he's actually grazing the wall, and the Lamborghini behind him grazing the wall. But what you can see now with the battling that we've been doing, running side by side and actually losing a bit of time, you can see the Lamborghini behind us, who's actually on medium tyres. He's actually starting to gain a bit now. So because we've been losing a little bit of time, we've actually brought the race back for the Lamborghini slightly that are behind us. The Lamborghini's actually had really good tyre wear compared to what I expected at this track. We tried it out a couple of times, I think, on stream with the soft tyres, and they actually seem to be fairly competitive, even running the softs. I think with the mediums, they might even be a little bit better, if anything. I don't really know. It would have been interesting. That's why I think it would have been interesting to see how the Cayman was on the medium tyres. As you can see what I was doing there, I actually deliberately ran wide through the corner so then I could get the slipstream down the straight. So now we're going to do the same thing as we did before. You can see lifting off the throttle, because I don't want the slipstream at this point of the track, because I don't want to give visual Quentin the chance to get back past me into turn one. So you can see lifting off the throttle. We're going to lift it, and another little lift there, and another little lift. We just keep flipping off the throttle because I want to be getting the slipstream on the uphill part. So this is where I now want to be getting the slipstream, so going up the hill. And you're going to see now how this actually helps you out, because you're accelerating up and he's actually losing speed going up that hill. So you actually pull away from him, and then it's going to be hard for him to then make a move back into turn one. So we're going to then come across to the other side of the track just to defend that. You can see he's now not in the position to really make any sort of a play back at getting P1. So some quite tactical driving there to make sure that he can't make that move. And now we've got 2 laps to go. Are we going to be able to hold on to this position all the way to the end? It's a very close race, a lot of swapping places. We actually skimmed the wall there on the exit, but I think also the Cayman behind us did the exact same thing and losing a little bit more time. But you can see what this battling is doing. If you look in the top right hand corner, you're going to see, in the bottom right hand corner, you're going to see the 2 Lamborghinis are actually getting in the slipstream now. And this is very dangerous, because once that Lamborghini gets a slipstream, it is so much stronger than the Porsche on the straights. It just literally flies past you without anything you can do. So this is now going to be a three-way battle for the lead on the last 2 laps. A very, very tense race so far. Obviously a lot of swapping places, no room for error really at this point. You can see the other Lamborghini starting to drop off a bit as he was running the soft tyres, whereas the other Lamborghini was running the medium tyres. And medium tyres did look like the better choice for the Lamborghini. So I was actually tempted. I really wish I would have gone back and tried the Lamborghini with the medium tyres to see how competitive it was, because I think it might have been just as good as the Cayman on the soft, but then how good would the Cayman have been on the mediums? I'm not too sure. But you can see I actually built up a little bit of a lead at this point, nearly breaking the slipstream. But once that Lamborghini is going to be picking up the slipstream of the Porsche in front of him, and then it's going to get an R slipstream, it's just going to come flying past us. You can see the gap. I've got a nice little cushion there, but it looks like the Cayman behind us is just picking the slipstream up by a 10th or 2. So he's just about getting that little bit of speed boost, and the Lamborghini behind him is also getting the speed boost. So once he gets past the other Porsche, he's going to be right on our tail and picking up our slipstream as well. As you can see there, that Lamborghini is picking the slipstream up, and he's going to be making the move, possibly going to be getting himself in position to make a move into turn 1. As you can see, he's about 6-7 tenths behind, but he's going to get a massive boost from our slipstream. Obviously the Lamborghini is a way faster car anyway, so once it does pick up that draft, it's going to be carrying some serious speed into turn 1. As you can see already, he's managed to gain that time. He's actually going to have to go around the outside. We're going to have to brake very late to see if we can hold this position. I'm going to brake really late and try and take the inside line, as we just about managed to hold the inside. A tiny bit of contact, but that's fair racing. And now we're going to hold the inside into the second corner and run a little bit wide on the exit, actually skimming the wall, and then we're going to hold a tight line to the wall, because you actually, if you have a little look there, it actually thins out the track there. I did turn in a little bit on him and probably might have actually given him no room to go down there, but I kind of thought that was a very risky move to go down there, but maybe a little bit aggressive from myself. I did actually watch it back after and thought that I gave him more space than I did. However, the track does thin there, so I think it was a risky move to even try and go for that on the inside there as the track narrows. But he's still in the slipstream. You see Quentin also picking up that slipstream, and this is a great three-way battle now all the way to the finish. I'm going to have to really try and push as hard as I can now in the lead, because I'm not really in the best position really. With that Lamborghini behind me, he will be able to pick up a massive boost down the straight if he's able to be in that slipstream. And you can see I'm pushing really hard. He's on the medium tyre, so he's actually probably got the better tyres now. I'm not too sure what condition them mediums were in at this point of the race, but I managed to drive through that section really well and actually built up quite a nice cushion to P2. You can see I staying down the right hand side because I don't want to give the slipstream, and then getting back into the braking zone, braking as late as I physically can without braking too late, and actually braked quite late. But what that enabled me to do was actually get on the power really nicely through that corner and carry quite decent speed, as we're now going to work. It's basically a drag race now all the way to the finishing line. Are we going to be able to hold on to P1? You can see in the mirror that P2 isn't far behind, and it looks like we're just going to be able to do this as we go over to the right hand side of the track to try and break that slipstream and stop him picking up too much of a boost. And now just taking the normal racing line, and we're just about going to get this win in this race as we go over the line and take P1. It was a really enjoyable race, and a very different race. You had different strategy obviously from the Lamborghini running the medium tyres, but a good fun race and an enjoyable race. So I really was impressed with the overtake I did on the other Cayman in that race at the start. Well, I think it was lap 4 or 5. We'll have a little look at the replay of that now as we come to the end of this race, as the cars cool down, and then we're going to jump on and see from the replay camera how we made that move into turn 1 after we re-picked up the slipstream after Quentin took the slipstream from us. You have a little watch now. Quentin took the slipstream from us there, got himself into the leader race. I swung back, picked up the slipstream again, and actually did it was kind of at a nice distance to catch him by surprise, because I don't think he was actually expecting it. As we picked up the slipstream, did a little fake to the left. You're going to see the little fake come in there to the left, and then dummy back to the right hand side, get the inside line, and you could see the rears almost drifting there as we went into the apex, skimming the wall on the entry. And that was a great move, a thoroughly enjoyable move to put myself back into P1 there. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to jump on to the second race after we have another little look there, looking back at myself as we did the fake to the wrong side of the track and then cut on the inside, braked a little bit later, got the car positioned nicely, and then up into the apex of the corner and took that position. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyable move, and that got us back into the lead. And I don't know if I mean the battling probably cost us more time than it gained us in the end, but it was great fun while it lasted. So then we went back into another race, and we've got the same drivers back in this race, the Lamborghini driver and Quentin back in this race. And let's see how this race goes. As what we're going to do for this race is we're going to use some different camera angles. I decided to, instead of the cockpit, because we just done that race on the cockpit, we're going to actually use the chase camera and the replay cameras for this race. So for some people that use the chase camera on the control pad or whatever method they use for the inputs, we're going to keep them views on for them people that I do get asked in a few videos to have the chase camera on. So we're going to just leave that on for this race for some of the race as we go through it. You can see Quentin now picking up that slipstream again from the start of the race, obviously getting that massive boost. P1 not really the best place to start in this race. It's probably better to start P2, as he's managed to get a massive boost and he's going around the outside. The Lamborghini looks like he's going to try and go around the outside also. However, we're on that inside, and it's really not a place that the Lamborghini can make a move there. But this time the Lamborghini's actually kept it on track just about, nearly hitting the wall again, but just about kept it on track and is staying in the battle. As you can see, a lot of cars actually getting through that for turn 1 cleanly this time. A nice group of cars. You can see P1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 all getting through turn 1 easily and still in the slipstream of each other. So this could be a really good fun race if this carries on like this. As we're going to jump through to the chase camera now, as we're following Quentin through the really tricky corner under the bridge, as he makes a mistake, and we're going to have to try and hold it around the outside, just about hold it, skimming the wall on the outside and getting ourselves into P1 in this race. So a very brave move on the outside there. The Lamborghini also had a little look and got past Quentin also. So now we're going to have to defend from that very fast Lamborghini through the real power section on the end of the lap now. Obviously these corners actually favour the Cayman slightly, however then you've got the long straight where if that Lamborghini is anywhere near us, he's going to be able to get a massive slipstream and pass us as if we're not moving now. But we're going to try and hold the lead and try and get a really good strong exit from the final corner and just see if we can hold them off for as long as possible. Although it's looking like there's not really going to be much I can do in the Cayman. It's going to be a case of the Lamborghini just breezing back past us in the slipstream as we go really tight to that apex this time, trying to avoid the Lamborghini picking up the slipstream, although he takes a very good line through there. Quentin also trying to take a tight line through there and actually picking up the slipstream of the Lamborghini. However, now that Lamborghini, watch how much speed it gains down the straight as we're running on board from the chase camera, as we're going to just probably not do much in terms of worrying about that slipstream, because we're going to go over to the right hand side of the track. All that is to do is just make sure no other car tries to go on the inside towards the end into turn 1, but there's not really much point in defending that slipstream too much, because he's just going to look how easy it is for the Lamborghini. But what I'm going to do now is tuck straight back into that slipstream, pick up the advantage that I can get from the slipstream, just to avoid Quentin getting past us also, because if without going in that slipstream he would have breezed past us also with the pull he was getting from the Lamborghini. So as we go now into turn 1, a little bit too far back to really think about making any sort of move, so just hanging back there again as Quentin actually braked a little bit late there, thinking possibly give us a little tap on the rear bumper, but no harm done as we go through turn 2 and getting on the power and just trying to stay with this Lamborghini. Now you can see at this phase of the race we're running the soft tyres, so we've actually got a little bit more grip through the really fast corners. So is this Lamborghini going to be able to keep the speed through the long fast flowing corners as much as the Cayman, or is he going to actually hold us up? This will be interesting to see as we have a little look on the inside, trying to just put him under pressure and make him maybe force him into a mistake somewhere. As again going through there, we're having to back out a little bit there, nearly got close to the wall, but just about getting away with that as we go through the fast corners. And again Cayman picking up a little bit of understeer there when we're picking up that dirty air and actually clipping the wall on the outside, but just about again just getting away with it. But the Lamborghini came so close to hitting the wall there on the exit of that fast left hand corner. And again, this is the corners where the Porsche is a lot stronger than the Lamborghini. Had to back out the throttle massively there. The Lamborghini just couldn't carry the speed that the Porsche could through them change of direction corners. Obviously the 4-wheel drive system causing a little bit of understeer compared to the rear wheel drive mid-engine on the Cayman as we go into the right hand corner now. And again we're going to have to try and get on that power and try and pick up that slipstream as well as we can, as we see Quentin behind us, very close behind us, and also going for that really tight line. However, I was trying to take a wide line so we'll get on the power and see if we can pick up enough of a slipstream. Now this is going to be probably a little bit better in terms of picking up the slipstream for an overtake. Let's see how this works out. Let's see the power difference between the Cayman and the Lamborghini as we go down the straight, picking the slipstream up slowly and slowly, and then just gonna have to go to the right hand side of the track. Are we gonna go to the right? We're gonna go to the right and have the inside line into turn 1. Maybe that might have been a mistake from the Lamborghini. Maybe he should have gone to the right hand side and made us go around the long way. But you can see, look at the power difference. He's already coming back at us now and actually increasing his speed. But Quentin there gives us a nice little tap up the rear there and actually pushes us forward a bit, which actually helps us defend into turn 1. Luckily got away with no penalty. Very risky thing to do is the bump drafting. I'm not a massive fan of it, although that one worked out in our favour. We did get an SR down, however we also got ourselves into P1. So now from this P1 position, are we going to be able to hold on to the lead and try and break that slipstream? It's going to be very tricky now, as you can see, running on board with the chase camera again. As we then move to the replay camera, just looking, we still got 4 cars very close. You can see that green Lamborghini again just falling back now at this stage of the race, where his tyres are starting to get a little bit worse. Maybe the medium tyre on the Lamborghini was definitely the better choice of tyre for the race conditions. As I think about now at this phase, the Lamborghini started coming back a bit in terms of its ability through the corners compared to the Porsche, because we were obviously running the soft compound tyre, and it was kind of after lap 3 or 4 you needed to have really built up a little bit of a lead. But so far in this race it hasn't been possible because of the draft down the straight and obviously battling as we go into turn 1. So this is going to be a real battle to try and lose these 2 cars that are behind us. Are we going to be able to do it anyway on the track? As we're going to go to the right hand side to try and lose that slipstream a bit as we go into the final corner, to try and get a really good exit from this corner and see if we can pull away somehow as we go into the tight right hand corner. The Lamborghini takes a very good line through there. We take a line that gives us a slight better exit than the Lamborghini. Lamborghini took a very tight line, which then compromises getting on the power slightly. Although the Lamborghini just has no worries about that really, because of its severe straight line speed and power advantage over the Group 4 Porsche. As again you can see everyone getting in the line as I go back over to the right hand side again, because that for me was the best option to do. It stops people getting that inside line, but I don't think it's going to be much use in terms of defending going into turn 1. It looks like that Lamborghini is going to pick up a massive boost all the way now into turn 1. As you can see, picking up the slipstream. He's getting the overtake done quite late there, but again, not really anything I could do there with that speed advantage on the Huracan. As we now go into turn 1 and P2 just behind us. Luckily Quentin wasn't able to get past us on that straight as well, so still holding on to P2, and now we've got to see if we can get back past the Lamborghini. Having a little look up on the inside, just not able to make the move there. It would have been very risky to try anything there. And again, the Lamborghini had a little bit of an issue on the exit of the corner, but I go to the right hand side to try and make a move, and again I didn't go to the left hand side because I know that the track thins out there and narrows off. So try to have a little look down the right hand side in the safer opportunity as we now come through to the tunnel section. A very tricky corner this. You've got to pretty much chuck it in blind and pray you get there on the apex of the corner, and just if you miss it slightly, it can really compromise the exit of the second part. As you see the Lamborghini skimming the wall there, nearly hitting it hard enough to actually lose some time, but just getting away with that. And again, through these really fast flowing corners, this is where it starts getting pretty tricky now, running the soft tyres on the Cayman. You can see the understeer building up, getting so close to the wall there, and again within inches of hitting that wall. So some very close drive into the wall, but just about getting away with it so far. As you can see, 3 cars really battling away for the lead in this race. This is going to be a very close race. Are we going to be able to get in the lead and break the slipstream? Maybe the best opportunity will be when the tyres are going to start going on that Lamborghini on their medium tyres, because we're going to start hitting the point where the Lamborghini's also going to use some of them tyres up, as we both take a very wide line through there. Quentin takes a tight narrow line, however we're going to get better exit speed from that corner, and we actually had a little bit of contact. I thought I was actually past him. I did actually give space on the right hand side, but he took a very tight line too, and actually his front left tyre touched the rear bumper, but he's still in the slipstream and not really lost out that much really there as we're picking up that slipstream. So let's see how this slipstream works compared to before. Are we going to be able to pick up enough of a slipstream to get a move done either during turn, just before turn 1 or before turn 1? Let's have a little look now as we pick up that slipstream going up the hill, and you can see the power advantage that Lamborghini has. It's absolutely insane. He's able to just hold such more speed on the uphill sections, as we're going to have to try and do something similar to what we did in Quentin in the first race. So we're going to go down the left hand side, make sure he doesn't think we're going to go for it, then brake as late as possible into turn 1. He gives us a space and we make a nice move there, getting on the power, and a little tap there from behind from the Lamborghini, obviously, where he's got a better exit, but he couldn't take a narrow enough line to try and get back underneath us on the before the apex of turn 2. So now we're in the lead. Are we going to be able to pull away now and try and break that slipstream with these worn tyres? Are they going to be battling behind, and is this going to give me the opportunity to just pull out away enough from that slipstream and put some solid corners in to pull away before the end of this race? We've got just just over 2.5 laps to go in this race, and it looks like we're actually pulling away now. You can see we're nearly breaking that slipstream, which is really good for ourselves. And another enjoyable race so far. 5 of the laps so far have been really intense, but it looks like we're starting to pull away. You can see driving very nice through there and trying to carry as much speed as possible to make sure that Lamborghini is not going to be able to get back in the slipstream. And it looks like the Porsche has actually got past the Lamborghini somewhere on that, so maybe the Lamborghini made another error clipping the wall somewhere. And this is perfect for me now, as we've managed to break that slipstream, and we just got to hold on to this lead and try and hold on to the very end of the race. And the tyres are actually looking reasonably okay on the Cayman with these soft tyres at this stage. I think I've done quite a good job in this race, a little bit better than the race before in terms of looking after the tyres, because there was still a reasonable amount of grip left on them at this point. So what we're going to do now is we decided to push quite hard and see if we can pull away even more, as we seem to have enough of a gap over P2 to avoid him picking up the slipstream. So this is really working out for myself now as we go through to start lap 6 now. So just 2 laps to go. We've built up a nice cushion there. It doesn't look like they're close enough to pick up that draft, so we just got to keep it nice and consistent now all the way to the end, as we're going to skip through to the start of lap 7, as we actually managed to build up about 3-second lead over P2 and actually put some really good consistent lap times in, considering how worn the tyres were. And I think that was because we looked after the tyres very well on that early stint there. But then lap 7, they were feeling very old after I put quite a good lap 6 in, considering the tyres were very worn. And we come over the line. Had to get rid of the penalty from earlier on in the race. I think when we hit one of the walls, we picked up a little bit of a penalty, but still managed to take the win by more than 2. I think it was like 2.5 seconds even with the penalty. So a really enjoyable race. Really, 2 really enjoyable races there at this track, and actually fairly clean there. So not much SR downs for a change. I thoroughly enjoyed them. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Make sure you leave any comments in the comment section. Give the video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed, and click that notification button so you don't miss any future videos. I do try and upload as much as possible, and we do live stream as much as possible as well. Thanks again for watching, everyone.